So it didn't destroy me financially. And one thing which I mentioned earlier in this series of videos, I was into the trial stuff, not the business side, because being from the tri-state area is such a step up on arguing and persuading and all the skills you'll need to be a trial lawyer. You can't be taught that stuff. Law school didn't teach any of that in the least. In that moot court contest, in other like in-class demonstrations, it was like sad what some of the other students would say in their attempts to be argumentative. So I just want to represent the Northeast. And I mentioned this earlier, this was another thing I did in my life where being better than other people didn't matter. It didn't matter in any job. It just seemed like the people who were there the longest got paid the most. I would like the people who were the best to be paid the most. It didn't matter in a lot of the teams I played on in high school. It didn't matter in academics. Poker, it matters. Now there are still outliers. You could run better than you're supposed to forever. You could run worse than you're supposed to forever. But mostly, like, there are no bosses here determining who gets paid. The better players get paid more. The people who play more hours get paid more. The people who understand Vegas has a ton of promotions, how to use them to your advantage, they get paid more. Poker is quite the meritocracy. You're actually ending up with more money if you're better than other people. And there are a ton of fields where that is not the case. That's why I also like being around casinos so much in general. Better dealers get paid more. They make fewer mistakes. I'm talking just poker dealers. I don't know the other games so much. They make fewer mistakes. They get more hands in. We don't have to pause the game, go to surveillance, ask the floor to make a ruling. Waitresses, also, a ton of waitresses serving drinks in the poker room. If you're quicker and you're more polite and you're getting the drinks correct, you're getting more tips. Now some people just tip big, you know, in poker. If they win a big hand, they tip big, no matter how good or bad the dealer is. Some people do it what I would call the correct way and tip based on merit. But there's a lot of jobs around here, not just me playing poker, there's a lot of jobs where you get paid more via your tips if you're better than other people with the same position. So I like that. I like seeing that when I'm around the poker dealers and the waitresses, and even just walking through the casino. I know I'm like passing people who are getting paid close to their worth. The better ones are getting paid more, the worst ones are getting paid less, and to me that's how it should be. And one last thing I want to say, in addition to not liking the structure of law school and how it went, law specifically, that field, to me, it is, to rely on the law is a terrible idea. It is a very expensive, very time-consuming last resort to any issue. There are ways to avoid issues that would lead to you going to your last case scenario, which is, let's go to court. There are so many ways to avoid it. Not just on TV, as much Judge Judy as my dad watches, and all those problems could be avoided if people were just a little more polite and had a little more forethought. There are so many ways to avoid those problems. In law school, the cases, had to read hundreds of cases. There are so many ways to avoid needing the law to result in the proper outcome that benefits you. So now, things in my life, I just try to avoid them the best I can. One example is security deposits. I have never in my life left an apartment worse than I found it, and every time the landlords just make up nonsense and keep 3/4 of the security deposit. Yes, I could take all the pictures and go to court, and I should win. I don't know if I would, and even if I did, it would take a lot of time and some money to actually file the case and have the case happen. And now I live in a way where I just avoid it. I don't pay security deposits, and I'm never going to pay one as long as I live. The incidentals, when I stay at Paris, I don't care. For a few days, there's a $100 hold on my credit card, and then it disappears. I've never had a problem with that, and that's one thing I've had a problem with, and now I just avoid it altogether. So that's one reason I don't like law, and I'll probably never recommend it to someone who's thinking about it. So that's it. That's how I went, why I stopped, my areas of interest, the finances. I think that covered every question. If you have more questions, leave them in the comments. I can make another video or series of videos if there's something I didn't touch on.